Hi, my name is Beth Sheffield of HeartHorse Dressage and I'm a Canadian Paralympian. I am going to talk to you today about how to sit the trot, this time in this video with your stirrups. I'm going to talk you through the first few things that you need to really help you ride your sitting trot well. I have a disability which unfortunately means my sitting trot won't be as good as I would like it to be, but I'm going to show you how I maximise what I can do with my body. So first of all, I like to have a stretchy breech that's not like a sausage skin. It's not tight, so the flesh on my legs can mould to the horse. It's not held tight in like a cylindrical sausage shape. My thighs can lie flat down the saddle and the flesh can sit out of the way. Your saddle can make a huge difference to your ability to sit the trot. The placement of the stirrup bars in relation to the deepest part of your saddle is really, really important, and it's quite personal. I ride in Bliss of London saddles. I find that their stirrup bar placement is about perfect for me. It allows my stirrup leather to hang vertically when my leg is in the right position. I really like the MDC stirrups. They have a small amount of flexion in the side. It's not too much. It doesn't make you wobble, and they have a wider foot plate, so I have better balance. They're more comfortable under my foot. But I find they are a real game changer for the security of my lower leg. The classical seat is to be balanced on your seat bones in the middle of the saddle with your hips advancing, your pelvis level, your thighs relaxed and slapped down the saddle, your toes and your knees facing as close to parallel and the front as you can, and your leg dropping with the weight falling down the front of your thigh and then down the back of your calf. This way your pelvis and your hips continue to be able to be loose and supple without you losing your balance. Before you start trying to work on your sitting trot, it's really important that both you and the horse are properly warmed up. I like to do some walk and trot stretching work, a little bit of canter to get the horse up and through the back so that you have a really good place to sit and the horse is confident and elastic in their own backs. When warming up to do sitting trot work, it can be really useful to do some work in a light seat or a two-point seat. It helps the horse become supple and light through the back, as well as it helps to loosen your hips as they have to move more, and it helps to refine your balance. So part of my warm-up, good girl, would be to go into a light seat. Sometimes I would shorten my stirrups a little bit. They feel a little bit long for me to keep my balance. This makes my hips bounce around a bit and makes my lower leg strong. Good girl. And then it's relatively easy to go into a sitting trot. I just bring my shoulders back over the top of my hips, go deep into the saddle, and my lower leg is prepared for me. My hips are nice and springy, and I am ready to sit the trot. The classical seat is to be balanced on your seat bones in the middle of the saddle with your hips advancing, your pelvis level, your thighs relaxed and slapped down the saddle, your toes and your knees facing as close to parallel and the front as you can, and your leg dropping with the weight falling down the front of your thigh and then down the back of your calf. This way your pelvis and your hips continue to be able to be loose and supple without you losing your balance. So from that position of strength through your seat, you want to feel that your core is active, but not in a sucking up kind of way that will make you into a sort of A shape between your thighs. You want to have the feeling of having an open thigh, which creates space through the pelvis so you can sit on your horse that's actually like a lowercase n shape. Good girl. And that will allow you to become adhesive and around the horse rather than tight and pinging up away from the horse. Your butt muscles want to be soft and relaxed and elastic. They allow your hips to not have to take so much of the bounce. If you have tight glutes, then you'll be bouncing on them like you're sitting on two footballs. You're wanting to have a feeling of stretch through the hip flexors and down the front of the thigh, through the front of the quad. And then you're going to have another feeling of stretch that goes from the back of the knee, good girl, down to your heel. You don't want to push your heels down because that'll push you to the back of the saddle. You want to have your legs dropping in a nice stretch. So your stirrup leathers are still vertical on the saddle. It gives you a really nice place of support. So once you have warmed up with some nice rising trot and some counter transitions and you've got the horse nice and soft and through, you can start sitting the trot. I like to start my riders off when I'm teaching with riding really soft walk-trot transitions so their seat can find the rhythm and then come back to trot again before they lose their balance. And I'm going to ride a few strides of trot, find the rhythm in my seat, and then I'm going to come back to walk. Come. And walk. Check the balance, check my position, back to trot. It's really important that you try to find a trot that is small enough that you can keep your balance without the horse hollowing, rushing or becoming tight, because then you won't be able to sit regardless of how well trained your seat is. It'll feel horrible. In a good sitting trot, you'll often feel like one heel goes down and then the other heel goes down, and they keep alternating up and down with the rhythm of the horse's trot. All the time you're in sitting trot, you want to have the feeling that you're keeping your hips in the front of the saddle and your pelvis is level. And then you want to keep your seat bones on the rails of the saddle, which is part of the tree that is under what you're sitting on. So you're feeling like the tree of the saddle is carrying you and the horse's back is carrying you underneath that. Good girl. There should be a really nice feeling of buoyancy and bounce. And you want to feel the rhythm of the trot as your seat goes through the 3 planes of motion. As you become better at finding the rhythm in your seat and through your hips, your seat will become less of a following thing and it will start to be able to achieve more of an active role in moderating your horse. I like to think of the seat as being like the gearbox. My legs are the go. My hand has a slight stopping effect, turning effect, balancing of the shoulders effect. But my seat tells the horse how to go. The rhythm, the shape of the step. Good girl. And here we're in a nice forward flowing working trot. Now I'm asking for a bit more swing. Just a bit more up underneath my seat. Good girl. I stretch my legs down, I stretch my body up, and I think that her hind legs are more like big springs through the pelvis, and I have to control those big springs through my hips. I get more right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, spring through the pelvis. Good girl. Good girl. Let you have a little stretch. Just as I explained in the sitting trot without stirrups video, self-carriage is really, really important, and you need to maintain it even if you're in sitting trot. Make sure you're not using the reins to keep your balance. I personally think it's almost more difficult to be in balance with stirrups than without, because human nature evades work and you start to do funky things with your legs to try to maintain your balance using the stirrups. Well, you don't have stirrups, you don't have that option, and you have to actually use your core. So, the first thing to be really mindful of is that you don't brace against the back of the saddle. Many people wedge themselves between the back of the saddle and their stirrup irons, and then they use the horse's mouth to stop themselves from falling off the back. They push their heels down hard, they lean back to a very upright position, often with a very hollow back, and they present almost straight arms, pulling on the horse as it goes along. That is not terribly effective. It actually locks your seat and makes it much more difficult for you to be influencing the horse with your seat. One of the other things I see riders do, which you want to try to avoid, is they stabilise themselves by pushing their knees up into the blocks. Most modern dressage saddles now have these wonderful, big, comfortable blocks and a really nice padded seat. So there is always the temptation to push your legs up into the blocks, your heels become light, and you sit there wedged against your blocks. This, again, it locks your seat. It stops your seat being able to be supple and influence the horse smoothly. The third variant of bizarre sitting trot I see is riders clamping their calves onto the horse. Often they bring their heel up and they clamp the calf really tight into the horse to keep their balance. They're not allowing their weight to drop, so they are almost using their spur in the horse's ribs as a way of pinching for balance. It really doesn't help the rider sit and be supple. It also doesn't help the horse understand the leg aid, because the leg is always there and always fairly intense. I hope this video has helped you with some more ideas about how you can improve your sitting trot. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe below.